Hey guys, really quickly, I just wanted to respond to a video, quite a few questions that I had from one of my subscribers named Tammy Johnson. Tammy, I will try to tag you in this video so you know that I'm answering it this way. I didn't want to type everything out. I just wanted to answer your couple of questions just really quickly. That way I didn't have to put some long reply to you on there, type out a long reply. I know you were talking about, excuse me, I'm battling a bit of a cold right now. I know you mentioned in your question to me about your possibly having the sleeve gastrectomy, and you were this month, I believe, and you were thinking about possibly doing the gastric bypass because you think that you'll keep the weight off longer. That is actually not true. The amount of time that you keep the weight off is going to be up to you. Now, the amount of weight that you can lose with each of these surgeries can differ. Because I had my original surgery 8 years ago, the gastric sleeve was completely brand new. My surgeon told me about it. I had never heard about it. There were not many videos out on YouTube about the sleeve gastrectomy at that time. And for those of you that don't know, the sleeve gastrectomy is a less invasive surgery than the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. The sleeve gastrectomy basically just makes your stomach about the size of a banana, so you still have a little bit of a bigger pouch. And they don't have to do all the bypass and reroute your intestine, and they do reroute it, but there's some other things that they don't have to do. The Roux-en-Y gastric bypass is the most invasive surgery and the hardest to recover from. I have been in a lot of different weight loss communities over the past 8 years. I have a lot of friends and family members that have done the surgery. Most of them have done the sleeve gastrectomy and have had awesome success with it. Really, really great success. My problem was at that time, 8 years ago, the sleeve gastrectomy was brand new, and my surgeon told me that because I weighed 415 pounds, I wouldn't lose enough weight with the sleeve gastrectomy to take care of my comorbidities. So, as I've mentioned in one of my previous videos as well, I had high blood pressure, diabetes, I had some heart irregularities. I ended up finding out later that I have dextrocardia, which means my heart, instead of being in the left side of my chest, it's in the right side of my chest. My aorta also runs opposite my body than other people, and that's only 1% of the world has this. So I get winded pretty easily, and the weight also wasn't helping. Anyway, aside from that, the sleeve gastrectomy at the time of my surgery was still brand new, and my surgeon said there wasn't enough data or anything to say really if I would have enough success with it. So, and lose as much as I needed to, basically in order to save my life. Because if you remember, my surgeon told me that I would die by the age of 30. And I was 27 at the time. 26. I started my journey when I was 26. So, he told me that the best option for me was to have the gastric bypass. Now, I'm not going to mention my surgeon's name, but my surgeon was from out of town. He actually moved here to where I live in, I think it was about 2008, 2007, 2008. Where I worked, I had a really, 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 really awesome job. I was in I worked for a very large bank, and our insurance was amazing. My insurance paid for the surgery 100%. I had a lot of coworkers, and I'm talking a lot, they were dropping like flies, everybody having the surgery with this same surgeon. And I was seeing their success along with my neighbor. I actually worked with my neighbor, and she had the surgery. Didn't have much success because she just couldn't change her eating habits. Her husband and she went out to eat every single night. I would see them coming back with takeout. I lost 100 pounds before she even lost 70, and she had her surgery a whole year prior to me. And she was mad when I hit the 100-pound mark in only just a few months, and she hadn't even lost 70 pounds in over a year. And I told her she never changed her eating habits. Eating out and all that stuff, even though you can only eat a little, you're still eating the wrong things. You still have to change what you eat. It's not just the amount. Like I've always said and tried to preach, the surgery is a tool. It is not an absolute guarantee fix it. It is a tool. But anyway, she didn't lose as much weight and was just, she ended up gaining it all back actually. Anyway, so as far as your question between the two, I know a lot of people right now that are doing the sleeve gastrectomy, and I really think it depends on how much you weigh. I would say that if you're under 400, if you're in the 300, you 320, 350, something like that. I had a friend who was just, I think she was maybe 365 something. She had the sleeve gastrectomy and she has done amazing. She is just now 9 months out and has lost, I think like 130 pounds or so. She's doing really great, really great. And everyone else that I know that has had the sleeve gastrectomy has had no complications. They've done a really amazing job at losing the weight and following the guidelines. As long as you follow the rules, everything that they tell you before you walk out of that hospital, make sure that you listen, because I mean, I'm 8 years out. I had a lot of complications, but it's also up to me to keep my weight off. Going from 415 to now, as I said, I teetered between 145 and 150. I actually went for a walk today, so as I get winded because of my heart, so I can't really run and do a lot of strenuous activity, but I do walk, and I have problems with edema in my legs, so I have to be careful with that also. But everyone that I know that has had the sleeve gastrectomy has done great as long as you follow the guidelines. You asked me what went wrong in my surgery, if it was my surgeon or the surgery itself. It was error on my surgeon's part, which I actually, now 8 years later, I just found out that it was his error this year, right before I just had this past surgery that I had to remove more of my new stomach pouch and the old. Originally, when I started having complications, it was just complication, and then they ended up leaving a surgical clamp in my stomach, and that made me sick for a very long time and almost punctured completely through my stomach wall and my small bowel. It showed up as a foreign object on a swallow test and showed up gleaming. It looked like a wedding ring, a gold wedding band, and it was a surgical clamp that was left in after one of my fix-it surgeries. But they were able to get it out okay. I just found out before this past surgery I just had in December that my surgeon, whenever they create your new stomach pouch at the bottom of your esophagus, and they're basically stapling that off or blocking that off, and then your whole old stomach is on this side, they're supposed to kind of move your old stomach away from that new stomach area, I guess kind of reposition it down a little bit. That way they don't have a chance to grow back together. My surgeon never did that originally. He left it there, and my old stomach grew to my new gastric bypass pouch, and basically created a tunnel, and I was having stomach acid and everything else going into an area that hadn't been used in 8 years. It was the most pain I'd ever been in my life. It was horrible, horrible, horrible pain, constantly. I went through that for a year before deciding to do the surgery, because the surgery was so risky, and he kept telling me, you could die, you could die. I love my surgeon. He's so straightforward with me, and just saying that it was one of the riskiest things that I would end up doing. And we tried every step other than surgery to fix it, but nothing else worked. I had a stent put in for a while, so all I could do is have clear liquids, and it was supposed to be for 3 months, but the stent slipped down after only 1 week. It slipped down into my intestine, and it was hell for him to get it out. It was a mesh, like a mesh metal looking type stent that went down my throat. Anyway, so it was, my problems were my surgeon. He was from another state. I don't remember what state it was from, but he came in here, started doing a bunch of surgeries on people whose insurance took it, the big bank that I worked for. And I started having a bunch of problems. He ended up leaving town immediately after. He would have received the paperwork from my lawyers requesting, from leaving the surgical clamp in, he would have received the lawyer paperwork requesting my medical records. So he knew that I was seeking, talking to lawyers about malpractice as far as leaving the clamp in from one of my prior surgeries. All of a sudden, there's a letter that went out to all of his patients that said that he was leaving and he was going back to his hometown. Well, come to find out, he's not even practicing there. He didn't move to his hometown. He just left here. And I guess there's other surgeons here where I live that knew about him and his reputation. And I guess anytime something goes wrong, he leaves. Anyway, I don't know a lot about that, but I know doctors don't like to talk bad about other doctors. Most don't. My surgeon definitely doesn't, but he is very straightforward and did say there were things that were done wrong, and and things that shouldn't have been done. So it was my surgeon, not the gastric bypass itself. You also asked me if I would do it again. A lot of people ask me that, and even after 8 years, I still don't have an answer for that. I don't know why I can't answer that question if I would do it again. I've been through so much pain, and I'm talking so much pain. Not being able to eat, vomiting. Vomiting hurts. If you have stomach pain and you're vomiting at the same time, it hurts. Going through that for years, not being able to eat, possibly, being threatened with feeding tubes and all of these things, and not being able to stop my weight loss because I've lost so much and I'm just skin and bones, and then not being able to gain weight very well. Eating, now because my stomach is only 1 ounce, I have to eat basically it literally feels like every 10 minutes. I'm ravenous, and I feel like I could eat a buffet, and then I eat 4 bites and I'm full, but then I'm starving again 15 minutes later. But that's just my personal situation. I think if I didn't have all the side effects and everything that I had, or all the complications, and I would have just had the surgery, it would probably be an easy yes, because I do like where I'm at now. I'm happy with my body. I'm happy with the size I am. I'm unhappy because of not being able to eat much. I've lost a lot of internal organs. My gallbladder, most of my small intestine is gone. My stomach is almost completely gone. I only have 1 ounce left. There's nothing else. If anything else goes wrong, my surgeon told me there's nothing else he can do for me. He would only be able to remove that little 1 ounce of stomach, and I would be on a feeding tube for the rest of my life. So I'm out of options now. Nothing else can go wrong for me, because there's not any options. So it's kind of 50-50. I'm happy with where I'm at, but the journey has definitely been difficult. If you have any other questions, make sure, please let me know. I'll try to answer them as quickly as I can, especially you said your surgery's coming up. So I really, 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 really wish you well, and just listen to everything they tell you. If you have any questions afterward with things that they told you or you don't understand, feel free to get a hold of me, and I'll record a video just for you and answer whatever questions that you have, just like I am now. I hate typing out long answers, so I'd rather just record a quick video it's 10 o'clock at night where I live. I'm Central Standard Time in the middle of the map. So if you have any questions with anything that they tell you to do, anything like that, then please let me know. I'll answer them as quickly as possible. As I said, I'll do a video just for you. It doesn't matter. Because I've been through a lot, and I have a lot of answers for any question that you have. So that's it. I just wanted to answer that. If you made it to the end of this video and those were your questions as well, I really hope I answered them. If you have any other questions, let me know, please, and I'll answer them as quickly as possible. Thanks, guys.